Hello, yellers. Welcome back to Why Am I Yelling? Musings from a middle-aged menopausal mom. I'm Krista, your OG New Yorker who talks with my hands enough to land a plane, probably, the lover of a cold room to sleep in, and the person who refuses to give up my flip-flops no matter what the season is. That's right. If it's above 60 degrees, my toes are out in my flip-flops on the outside of the house, but if it's below, my toes are out on the inside of the house. Yell out to LL Bean, who makes a really good flip-flop that's got fuzz on the inside of them, super warm, and as somebody who is going through menopause, I don't like to have hot feet. I don't know, it's just me, but I don't like to have hot feet, so I don't like a sock, I don't like a slipper, I don't like anything that's going to make my feet sweat, so that's why I like a flip-flop. TMI, I know, but that's what you're getting from me today. Speaking of today, we are going all in on one of the biggest, sweatiest symptoms of menopause, and that is hot flashes. What they are, why they happen, what the science says, and what we can actually do to manage them. But first, are you kidding me? I actually had no idea that we even had this, and I found out about it today because today, September 9th, the day I'm recording this episode, that won't be out for another couple days, but I'm recording it on National Hot Flash Day. Like, who even knew this existed? Not I, said the fly. And yet here we are. We are talking about hot flashes on National Hot Flash Day. I was like, I have to go run downstairs into my little office and have a conversation about this because I think it's great. I think it's great that we have a day that is designated to talking about symptoms of menopause, whether it's hot flashes or brain fog or any of the other million things that we could be talking about. Starting a conversation with this, I think, is a great idea. It started last year in 2024 by Stripes Beauty, a wellness brand founded by the great actress Naomi Watts. And it launched last year as an initiative that was designed to foster awareness, open dialogue, and create community around menopause and its signature symptoms. And hot flashes, heads up, is a signature symptom of menopause. And so the purpose of today, of National Hot Flash Day, and every day for the peri and menopausal people out there, is to break the stigma around menopause and their symptoms, specifically hot flashes for this day, but symptoms, right? Provide a spotlight for shared experiences and mutual support, and encourage empathy, education, and open conversations about these topics. What used to be taboo, right? I never talked about this stuff with my mom or my grandmothers or any of that stuff. Now is at the forefront of conversation, which is so refreshing and just encouraging for the people that are in it and the people that are coming up behind us that are going to go through it. Like no one's escaping this, right? So it's important. And here's why it matters, right? Hot flashes affect around 75% of women during this phase, perimenopause and menopause, often intensely and unpredictably, right? This day serves as a day to help us normalize these experiences as natural, shared, and worthy of care and attention. So thank you, yell out again to Naomi Watts for elevating the conversation and making women's health in this midlife stage that we are in an important part of our conversation. It's really, really important. And so let's get into it, shall we? Let's talk about the hot flashes. You know what it is if you are a menopausal woman. You know the moment that when you're in the middle of a meeting or talking to your teenager about their science project, or suddenly your body decides you're auditioning for a sauna commercial, it's not just being warm, right? It's like your skin is on fire from the inside out. Your armpits betray you, your upper lip glistens in a way that it shouldn't, and it's not leftover serum from your face tightening cream in the morning that you just used, right? You are suddenly questioning whether clothing is actually necessary at all because it is uncomfortable and it is overwhelming and your body is reacting and you can't do anything about it. And what's worse is that the hot flash doesn't give a shit where you are, right? You could be in the grocery store. Yep. You can be at a parent-teacher conference. Hello. You can be in the middle of the night when you're finally have fallen asleep, and that is when they come for me. I am a night sweater, and am addressing that with progesterone and other supplements to help that, and it definitely has helped me, right? Hot flashes are your body's not so subtle reminder that your hormones are having a party. And you, my friend, you were not invited to said party. You are the vessel for that party. Estrogen and progesterone drop, and suddenly your internal thermostat goes haywire. It's like living with a broken thermostat in July in your body. No, it is very unpleasant. I know. So what do? We hydrate, we layer, we carry fans like church ladies. Wish I had a fan down here, but I don't. And we remind ourselves that no, we are not dying. We are simply transitioning into I survived puberty and childbirth and Y2K and all the other things. I can survive this era too. So let's start with what hot flashes are, right? Sudden feelings of intense heat that aren't caused by an external source. Face, neck, chest might get flush, your heart rate speeds up, and then you break into a sweat. Like I said before, I don't get them during the day. Mine come on at night, and it's not every night, especially since I started my progesterone and magnesium little combo thing. But I do sometimes find myself getting like warm cheeks sometimes. But it doesn't happen often. It's not a consistent thing with me. So I'm not sure if that's just a hot flash or if it's my blood pressure rising because somebody is causing me to have my blood pressure rise. I don't know. I should start paying attention to that, which I will, but I don't sweat. So that's probably why I'm leaning toward that not being a hot flash. But it's different for everybody, right? According to the North American Menopause Society, I'm going to read this to you. About 75% of women experience hot flashes during menopause, and they usually last anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes. And let me tell you, when you are in it, 5 minutes feels like 5 fucking years, right? Like, stop it. And here's the kicker. For about a third of us, hot flashes can last up to 10 years. 2 hands of fingers, 10. So whoever designed this stage of life really overdid it in the hot flash menopause area, because nobody should have to go through this for 10 years. And hopefully most people don't, right? But why do they happen? Why do they happen? So estrogen is the diva hormone, as I am learning in the world. And during perimenopause and menopause, estrogen levels drop. And that messes with the hypothalamus. Say that 10 times fast. Which is basically your body's thermostat, right? And so your brain suddenly thinks that you're overheating, and it sends out an SOS. Your blood vessels dilate to release heat. Your heart rate rises, and boom, you are sweating through your favorite t-shirt, standing in the middle of the aisle at the grocery store, right? It's not just inconvenient. It can actually affect your quality of life. Poor sleep, hi, that's me. Increased anxiety, higher risk for depression, and that's why we need to take this stuff seriously. Gone are the days of just grin and bearing it like our moms and our grandmothers did. We never in my house had those conversations. I can remember when my grandmother would talk about the change, and my mom would, say things, but we didn't live in the same state even when my mom was going through her menopause. So we kind of talked about it peripherally on the phone. But I was also in a state of being much younger and, getting married and starting my own life. And so we didn't have a lot of conversations around how she was treating it, what she was doing for it, how it was affecting her. And sadly, she is no longer with us for me to ask her. But having open conversations about it is definitely on the rise, right? Menopause, perimenopause, we're all out there, having these conversations and being vocal and raw and real about it. Treatment is different for everyone, And there are tools and resources to help us address this, right? So exploring them is your first line of defense, right? Having conversations with your healthcare provider, doing research, listening to your gut. I have said this on prior episodes, even the episode that I did with my guest, Lauren Tettenbaum, in our last episode about, menopause, is that, advocating for yourself, especially now in this, phase of your life, is really, really important and instrumental in your health, because it can be detrimental to your health if you're not, researching and receiving the proper care and the proper regimen that you need for yourself, right? So no two people are the same. Treatment is different for everyone, right? Your symptoms are probably different than my symptoms. And so making sure you're having these conversations, and don't just let, somebody brush you off because they haven't had those symptoms. And I'm talking about your healthcare providers, and I'm talking about, people that aren't, that are there to support you, but just feel like since you're not having the same thing that they're having, or they haven't really come across this situation, that you should be ignored. It's really important for you to advocate for yourself. And if you don't feel like you're getting the care that you need, go somewhere else. There are so many, online. I belong to so many different Facebook groups and Instagram. I follow so many people on Instagram, and I get a lot of different newsletters and stuff about women who are actual, menopause practitioners who have studied this, who have, gone in all in and dove into, the science behind it and all that stuff. I'm just here to be a vessel for communicating, right? I would love to go into the science behind it, and maybe I will. Maybe I will decide to go back and get another coaching certification and become a menopause coach or whatever that is. But as somebody who knows that, 2 years ago when I started to really have a difficult time sleeping and sweating at night and doing all the things, my practitioner was like, oh no, you'll be fine. You're not old enough yet. You're not this. And I was, 2 years ago, I was 50. So I definitely was old enough for sure. And then this year she was like, let me give you all the things, because she had finally started experiencing it for herself. And so she admitted, she was like, you know what? I need to be better about this. And I definitely am. And so we had a much better conversation about it, and more in depth. And, she's willing to have these conversations with me where we have adjusted my regimen personally. But I think, when you have that kind of relationship with your healthcare provider, it helps you feel better. And it also makes you feel like you're not crazy, because it's like, I know I'm feeling these symptoms. I know that I'm having these symptoms. And why are people not paying attention to me or listening to me? Right? So take that into consideration when you are exploring all of your options. There's a lot of really great stuff out there. There's a lot of really great resources out there. But do your homework. That's all I'm saying. Here's the thing, though. There are a lot of really great treatments and coping strategies and ways that you can provide for yourself and advocate for yourself for your own personal symptoms, right? So what can we do to actually address the hot flashes and symptoms that you're having in perimenopause and menopause for yourself, right? Lifestyle changes, I think, are, first and foremost, right? I need it to be cold in my room when I'm asleep. I also like the blankets, so it is a juxtaposition for sure. But I know that if I'm in a cold, dark room and it's quiet, because I'm a very light sleeper, and on top of me, having these night sweats every once in a while, I'm a terrible sleeper to begin with, and it's not just a menopause thing. I've been a terrible sleeper my whole life. So I need a cold, cool, cold sleeping environment, right? I like a window open. I live in the Northeast. I like a window open, maybe not in the middle of winter, but I need it to be cold. Knowing that it's cool for dressing in layers, right? If you are in your menopausal years, perimenopausal and menopausal years, throw on a few different layers, and then you can just start peeling them off the hotter that you get, right? Trigger awareness. There are definitely triggers out there that can affect your body temperature. Spicy food, caffeine, alcohol, stress. Those can also all, make your hot flashes worse, right? They can add to an elevation of your hot flashes. So pay attention to when you're having them and what you're consuming, and if there's a connect there, because it could potentially be a connect. Maybe not, but maybe. There are lots of medical options out there. There's hormone replacement therapy, which everybody talks about all the time. Estrogen, sometimes combined with progesterone, which is what I do, and I also take a magnesium at night pill to help me sleep. It says they can reduce hot flashes up to 75%. I have noticed that since I have been taking the progesterone, because I don't typically have the hot flashes during the day, so I take my progesterone at night, I have noticed that since I've been taking this since May, June, July, August, so 4 months, about 4 months now, my hot flashes and my night sweats have decreased drastically. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I still don't get great sleep, but I'm not, peeling my clothes off in the middle of the night, having to change the sheets the next night. It's great, right? But it might not be for everybody. So, if you talk to your medical professional again, right? If you have a health risk, if you're already taking other medications, make sure that you are doing this in a smart way and you're doing it with guided assistance from a medical professional, right? There are also non-hormonal medications that you can take, right? That can be helpful. I don't know that much about them. So diving deeper into those, I'm sure as we continue to have these conversations, I'm going to learn more about all of this stuff too. And there's also, natural approaches. My mother-in-law used to talk about her black cohosh tea. And I don't know, maybe that works. I don't take those supplements, right? But there are supplements you can take. Talk to your doctor before starting anything. People talk about ashwagandha. I know that I can't take ashwagandha because I take cholesterol medication because I have a hereditary cholesterol situation, and it is passed down. That has been, deduced by my own medical professionals. So I have to take this medication to keep my cholesterol in check, and so that doesn't go well with some of these supplements. So I have to pay attention to what I take, right? Cognitive behavioral therapy, right, has been shown to help women manage the distress hot flashes cause. Even if it doesn't reduce the number, it's a way to address them, right? Mind and body practices, yoga, meditation, breathing, that's all good for stress. And let's face it, we're all under a ridiculous amount of stress all the time, every day, just by living in this world right now, right? And those kinds of things trigger things like hot flashes and other stressful things in our bodies. And so when you have the tools for everything from deep breathing exercises to meditation to yoga to taking supplements or taking a prescribed medical treatment regimen, that is more helpful to you, right? The bottom line is we don't have to just tough it out. There are options, right? And the best plan is one that works for you. Again, this is all do what works for you and the information that you get from your medical provider, because that's the right answer, right? The right answer isn't just getting on the internet and finding an influencer who is selling some supplements and then you buying them and taking them and then having everything in your body go haywire, because that stuff does happen, right? And I'm not saying that, everyone's out there hawking their wares, but that's out there. And you want to make sure that you are being smart about your research and you're doing it for you. You're not doing it because your best friend's doing it over here because what they decided to do is the same, right? Not everybody needs to be taking Ozempic. Not everybody needs to be taking this. Not everybody needs to be taking that, right? So make sure that you're doing what's right for you. I can't stress that enough clearly, right? The truth is this. Hot flashes are annoying, they are uncomfortable, and they can be really embarrassing, especially if they happen out in public and you're, on a date with your better half and all of a sudden you're dripping sweat and you're dabbing your face at your dinner. That's no fun, but they don't define us. They are part of the messy, sweaty, middle chapter of life that nobody really has prepared us for. And I think we're doing a really good job of having these conversations and trying to prepare not only ourselves as we learn about these things while we're in the thick of it, we're building the plane as it flies for menopause, but also for the future generations that are coming behind us. And I think it's also important that we are educating the male species as well, right? They need to know about these things. It's not just, oh, she's having a hot flash. Like, understand why those things are happening. Understand why, how pregnancy works. The same thing, right? Like, understand what happens to women's bodies. They are magical things. These things that we have are magical, these bodies that women have. And we don't get enough credit for all the work that these bodies do. And for all the stress that they are put through for basically our entire lives, from the time that we get our first periods until the time that we no longer have any of them, right? There's a lot of stress that happens to the woman's body. You men would not be able to handle it, trust me when I tell you that. So if you find yourself fanning yourself in the middle of a Zoom call or in the middle of the night and you wake up soaking wet because you are having a hot flash while you're sleeping, you are definitely not alone. And I know you know it, right? There are so many of us who are right there with you. And, it's okay. It's okay. It's part of life. But it doesn't have to be a part that you're not embracing. Like, embrace it. Find the right answers for you. Have the conversations. Do the research. And maybe make sure that, you're doing this in a way that you are, talking to your girlfriends about it. And don't make yourself have to go through this by yourself. That's why we're here, right? Let's have these conversations. Reach out to me. I will find somebody to put you in touch with if there's a resource that you need. I'm building my own resource database and plan on having those resources on this show specifically to have these conversations because they're so vital to our own knowledge and our own experiences and our own skill sets. So let's keep having these conversations and bring them up. Send that information to me. I have a new website, whyamiyellingpod.com. There's a submit page, yell with me page. Send me your feedback. Send me your feedback on Instagram and on YouTube and all the places. You can DM me. I don't care, right? Let's keep having these conversations. That is what this is for. This is not just for me to talk to my camera. This is for you guys to have these conversations with me too. And I love nothing more than to have these conversations with you guys. Seriously. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with your hot flash bestie. Like it, share it on Instagram, on YouTube, listen to it on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and where all you get your podcasts. Subscribe. Love you. Appreciate you. Review it. It helps other women who need to hear these words, because we all kind of need to hear these words. Find this show and have this as a resource and a tool for them. And we don't just talk about hot flashes on this show, right? We talk about all the things. Check out all the prior episodes that we've had so far. This is episode number 10. Until next time, stay cool, stay kind, and keep a fan in your bag. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Before we go, as you know, I love to know what's dinner. So tonight we're having leftovers. That's just what it is. But I did try the other night to make Swedish meatballs for the first time, and they were meh for me. I made them out of ground turkey because I had some ground turkey, and my son didn't want chili, and my husband didn't want sloppy joes, and it was like, okay, let's try something new. So I made a turkey Swedish meatball recipe. My husband loved it. I thought it was meh. And it needed something. I added dill to it. I kept adding things to it. And it was tasty, but it just wasn't what I was really looking for. And my son vetoed it immediately. He was like, I don't like this at all. So that was probably a 50-50 on dinner. Tonight's leftovers. What are you guys having for dinner? Let me know. I love you, and we will see you back here again really soon. Take care of those hot flashes. Mwah.